and welcome to the latest episode of Claret Blue podcast. I often start these by saying we've got a special guest. We really do have a special guest today. Here by popular demand, tour guide extraordinaire, Mr. Villa, Mr. Aston Villa, Mick Dale. How are you, Mick?
Matt, lovely to see you. Loving the new garb, mate. Very
well. Yeah, we better explain this first of all.
Yeah.
Regular Claret Blue viewers will know that I'm a scruffy old git. So Mick, bless him, the kindest-hearted man in the world, always comes bearing gifts. Today, he's bought me this blazer, which is the original blazer from the famous tours that made him such a popular figure with Villa fans. So I've tried, I can't quite.
Matt, I never reached that button either. It never went across my chest like that.
I think I might have to have a word with Mrs. Kendrick or my mother-in-law, see if we can do some alterations, but I don't know whether they do stomach stapling.
It suits you, mate, it suits you.
We've got Mick here. It's been a long time, not for any reason, because Mick's been, putting us off or anything, but it's something we wanted to do for a long time. We did do an interview like this back in the pre-Dan Rollinson days when our technology was, a house brick. So I remember recording Mick and getting loads of his stories then. So hopefully I'll be able to flush some of them out of him again. But yes, we've got you in surround sound, high definition, and we just want to tell the story. I'm going to start, Mick, by just talking about when you initially fell in love with Aston Villa. So I don't know whether you want to give your age away or
no, it's fine. I mean, as you know, we talked about it. What was it called? Not
Alliv Notsa. Yeah, Dad hates it. So.
Version of Aston Villa backwards.
Exactly.
So I told you that story. So apologies to anybody that has heard this before. But my dad went to school, King Edward's Aston, and he was always a Villa fan from those days. We lived south of the city, essentially in Birmingham City territory. So, Villa fans predominantly north there, but he took me to my first game in 1968 against Blackburn Rovers. Second division days, David Rudge, people like John Dunn played, Keith Bradley, Charlie Ake. Yeah. And just seeing those colours coming down the hill from Aston Hall, it was just so mind-boggling, and the programme, the colours of the Claret and Blue programme. And my dad, I've still got the programme, as you know. He'd made all the changes, and I got Dave Rudge, God rest his soul, to sign it for us. And great days. And didn't go a lot, didn't go to many games, but then we had the third division pretty soon after that. And those days we did enjoy going to. And Bruce Rhea. You didn't go to the 150 meet-up, did you, the other week? No, but Bruce was there, and Gary, we'll talk about Gary in a bit. He loved Bruce Rioch, Gary Shaw, and to seeing him around his heroes, like you when you see your heroes, it was great. So my dad gave me my love for Aston Villa, yeah.
You mentioned Gary there. Yeah. I remember the last time I spoke to you in depth about this.
Yeah.
You played against him, didn't you, when you were a young lad? How old would you have been then?
So we were 11 and he was 9 because he was a couple of years younger than us. And I can't... What did I say to you? I wanted to do this about Gary Shaw today, didn't I? Because we've got that many stories about him. But maybe that's for the Tony Morleys to do. We were playing for Solihull Borough Colts, and 3 of those players went on to become pros. So we were pretty decent. Yeah. There was also another team called Longleat Lions, and they were always top. If we ever beat them, that was the top 2. Yeah. Don't want to sound pretentious, but we were decent. Yeah. But we drew first game of the season away at Coleshill Town Colts. And if anyone knows Coleshill, the big drop down by the fire station, beyond the allotments there's a pitch, which it was all right, it was all good. And we turned up, I thought, it's a nice little start this is, I'll tell you at the end, my dad was there that day. This little blonde-haired 9-year-old kid scored all 4... We lost 4-1. He scored all 4 goals against us. And we went, who is this kid? He's unbelievable. So that was my first meeting of Gary Shaw.
So it was like the 70s, your decade, when you started going regularly? Did you start going with your mates and that kind of thing? Or
can I tell the truth?
Yeah, go for it.
In the days when we were at school, you could go to a football game and pay and go down the Blues and go down the Villa. So my mates, we used to go down the Blues on the Saturday when the Villa weren't playing. Didn't go to the away games because we were too young.
Yeah.
So I loved my football. But then obviously when we got into playing Saturdays, I was lucky enough to play in the schoolboys team, Birmingham schoolboys, with Brendan Ormsby and players like that. I didn't go down so often, but I just loved my football. Obviously Villa was the go-to, but we never missed a chance to go to a game. People say, oh, you went down the Blues, but you went with your mates. Yeah. They didn't come with me to Villa because, you know, but I went with them and they were always jumping on me when they scored and making a big deal of it. But
I don't think we've got any kind of photographic evidence down there.
There is none.
Mix, so
I've just let the cat out of the bag now. But those were the 70s. That's what, you know, we loved our football. And I'll tell you what, Gary loved his football. His knowledge of Villa is incredible. You know, it was incredible. So.
Speaking of incredible knowledge of Villa, I'm taking that segue and I'm running with it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably fast forwarding quite a chunk of time here, but I want to relive the time when I suppose you landed that dream job. So tell us, you were working in the civil service, weren't you, Mick, for most of your career?
30 odd years. And do you know something? I tell my kids now, you know, just do what you want to do, live your life. And I had this desk job for 30 odd years, was made redundant at I took the opportunity to actually take it and leave. But fortunately, I had some great help from Villa. My daughter playing for the Villa Academy. I'd done I was the referee secretary on pay, but helping the Villa out. And I'd got a very limited coaching badge. If anyone knows the level of coaching badges, I got the basic one, which I'd done at Bisham Abbey, actually. Because I won it in a... Can I say... It was,
you won it in prize where it lies, did you? A coaching badge?
Not quite. It was for one of your rival papers that isn't the best, so we started. So I won it in a competition for them. But I took the opportunity to go down to Bisham and learn...
a competition to do a coaching badge?
Yeah.
Interesting route, isn't it?
It was a very bizarre route.
I don't know whether Uno took that route.
I don't know whether he did. I think he's slightly above me in coaching ability, but it was lovely. It was at Marlow, Bisham on the Thames, beautiful pitches to do your coaching badge with.
That obviously used to be England's training base, didn't it?
It was. It was when we were there, yeah. St George hasn't been built then, so I kind of got this level one. Everyone, we all know it. You've got yours probably.
This is when when somebody's out of work and Dwight York goes for a job. This is Mick just pitching his way in here.
Matt, I'll tell you, it was, and I was. Do you know, I always lived on my nerves. I think that's probably, the anxiety of going, because Les Howard, he wrote the manuals, so he was the main man. He actually took that course. So we've gone on. But a lot of people work with him at the FA. There were FA people on it. And I was just, I got through it. It was amazing. But I got this qualification. So guess what? I became a community coach at Villa. So I had a little...
What year was that, Mick? Just to give us some context.
So that would be 2009.
Okay.
I joined... If anybody remembers the United game when that Mercedes scored and killed us at Old Trafford. Yeah. I started Villa the day after that in a soccer school at Redditch. And then I got my own placement, Tardybig, a lovely little village school in Tardybig.
Where's that?
It's near Bromsgrove.
I've never heard of it. It sounds like somewhere in Cornwall.
Oh, mate, it was idyllic school. And I used to go there just once, twice a week.
Yeah.
It was a young person's thing, have you ever tried to put one of them 5-side goals up, Matt?
I've tried to put nets up with my kids' football. It's a nightmare.
Oh, no, it wasn't happening. So eventually, they were ever so patient, the kids. So, about 4:30, we finally got going. And then I heard there was a tour guide where I'm going. So I applied for it, and Becky Perry, as she is now, if you listen to this, gave me the job, and that blazer and a tie. And the rest is history, so.
Was it the case that, I remember you telling me previously that you'd taken redundancy.
Yeah.
You wanted to kind of, make a fresh start. You'd landed this tour guide job. Did you have a careers advisor along the way?
Sorry, Matt. You had to lead me into that one. Yes, we all have. They fund it, don't they? If anyone has gone through the process of, they will bring in job consultants to kind of coach you and see what you want to do. And I didn't do it flippantly. It was genuinely what I wanted to do. He said, what's your dream job? I said, working for Aston Villa Football Club. And he's an Everton fan, this guy. I'll never forget him. He was lived in London. He was an Everton fan. And he said, well, can you see that happening? I said, well, I don't know. I said, we're going to have to wait and see. I got a little bit of a buffer with the payoff I got, but I said, I'd love to think I have. And when I did get the job, I phoned him, and he said, you're one of the only people that's phoned me. I said, I got that dream job. And he said, fantastic, you know, you're sorting. I said, I can't believe it, you know.
And wasn't there's some kind of interview process, wasn't there, or some? I'm leading you again here, but what was it that you did to kind of nail that role?
Rob Bishop again. Honestly, they don't do it now, but you have to do a dummy tour. So in other words, they get all the club staff to come on a tour with you. And in those days, it was a script. You had to read this script and follow it. So you imagine that, it's almost like an actor sort of scenario. And I was that nervous. It was a boiling hot July day. And the sweat was pouring off me. And Rob grabbed me, Rob Bishop, bless him, and said, look, you're doing fine. I wasn't. I was all over the place. He said, I'll ask a few questions at the end. And, of course, it helped because I could answer them. And, but the people on the tour, there must have been about 30 people on the tour. It was like...
just an excuse for them to break off work for an hour.
They loved it, yeah. July, walking around Villa Park, following me. But I got the job, and I was terrible at the beginning. I was awful. And I remember someone saying, you're not going to, it's not for you, this, you know, like one of my fellow talk, the guy that was training me.
Yeah.
And the one day he did reduce to a kind of, look, step away. And this Villa fan, do you remember the Villa Village when they used to have the tent with all the cheap £5 clothes? Yeah. I think they still do it. I went in there with them and they went, you're a really good tour guide. And I went, I'm not. They said, you're doing ever so well. This is a family that had paid, like, I don't know, in the day, like 15 quid to go and listen to me rambling, trying to recite a script that I really couldn't recite. I was that nervous. It was all a muddle. Yeah. But I'll never forget that family. If they listen to this, and you have a lot of followers, they'll remember that story. But gradually, it took time, I built it up. And do you know the best thing I ever did was ignore that script.
Were you allowed to, or was that you going really off-piste?
No. Wasn't really allowed to. But, do you know, suddenly the confidence started to come. The reaction was a lot better than when I was doing the tour script. So if it worked for me, and guess what? The rest of the tour guides now do it, you know, because the humour, people like, you have to judge it. Not everyone wants to, you know, but most people will relate to them. Calling it their name, I used to be always getting their name, you know, speaking to them personally, making them feel, which they are, you know, a massive part of the club. And that was a good thing I did as well, trying to ask them the names, get them involved.
Do you remember that though? So
just try.
I can't even remember. I mean, I had to check your name before you came on. I thought it was Dick Mail.
Dick Mail, yeah. I'm not going to lie, I've used some of your great lines on my tours.
Oh, my life, blimey.
Yeah, you know, there's some great stories. And, you know, I was at the hotel last night and this family came up and they watched Claret Blue. So, you know, what's the chances of that? No, I'm joking. I said I'd give them a shout out. So they're from Ireland, and it's Clowder, Matt, you're Matt, aren't you? Clowder.
It's all right, Dick.
Clowder, Dara, and Jane. So Clowder's their daughter. And they remembered me, this is so bizarre, playing table football in Sky Lounge with Clowder on the tour, because that's what we did, you know. And I never let the kids win if I could, you know. I was always like, we used to play table football in the lounge, and she remembered that. And it happened the week before, fans from Ireland coming for the Everton game, they went, you did a tour, you know, they do a double chat, and that's lovely.
I think it's really interesting, because I think there'll be lots of people who know you as Mick Dale and know you. There'll be lots of people who think, oh yeah, that's the guy. He made my tour of Villa Park really special. Yeah. There'll be some people who haven't had the pleasure of going on a tour with you. But I think that's, from my experience of you, that's always been, if people are coming to Villa Park, it might be their only one time that they're ever there, or the only one time they get to peek behind the curtain. So you want to make sure that it's personal and that they remember it for a lifetime, don't you?
It does sound, doesn't it? Like, but I genuinely think that's the case with me. Every tour, you know, you were there and you wanted them to enjoy that tour, and it was your mission, you know. I mean, we'll speak a bit later about the other role I had at Villa, you know, that gave me so much pleasure, that the people, if they are listening to this, will remember it, because their kids have had memories for life, you know. So.
Well, before we get to that, I want to, it's top of my head, a couple of funny stories that you've either told on the tour or you've told me before. I'm going to start, was it Bella's head or Hercules' head?
Bella.
Go on, tell us the story of Bella's head.
This is a true story. Please don't believe this. This is true. Does anyone, well, COVID was 2020, but just before that, we played in the Carabao Cup final against Man City. So 2018, we went down to Wembley, took Hercules. 2019, fantastic derby, took Hercules. This was the year Bella was going to go, so they got a new outfit for Bella. We went to Villa Park. My daughter was living in London at the time, so perfect Sunday morning, roads clear, blue sky. Got to Villa Park, met, you know, obviously the Bella, shall we call her Bella? And Jill was with me, and I said, we've got to try and find this new outfit. And we couldn't find it. We got the old one. Anyway, Jill had it was in a box. Jill went, wonder what's in that box. She found it, pulled it out. There it is, this brand new outfit. So Louis and I go to the toilet, and the girls get this new outfit, So when we got back, job done, this, you've seen them, I'm at, huge big blue bag, stuck it in the boot of my car, got down to Wembley. It was a dream of a journey. Dropped Jill and Louis at the tube. We got into Wembley. We actually got a parking space at Wembley. Met Denise. I hope Denise from the AFL is listening to this, because she will. Well, let's just say we'll tell you the rest of the story. So, Man City come. I think, Dan, it's their fifth consecutive Carabao Cup final. So their mascots turn up. No, we're not going out pre-match. She said, City fans are at far ends, so we're not going. I said, well, we are. We are. He said, well, there's a problem. He said, your girl's looking for something. I said, because I wasn't going to get a charge. I went, what do you mean? I said, what's the matter, Donna? She said, I can't find the head. I said, what? You can't find the head? I said, well, it's in the bag, isn't it? She goes, it's not. I went, it must be. It must be, please. Please. So I've had to go and get some fresh air. Now, anyone, right, I've come out of the tunnel. We got a pass to go pitch side, not on the pitch, but pitch side. There's a good colleague of yours, we all know him, Nev, the club photographer. Nev's in the sunshine 2 hours before a cup final. He's smiling away, and I swear this is a true story. He looked at my face and he went, what's the matter with you? He says, you haven't lost Bella's head, have you? And I went, who told you? So I had to go and tell the club secretary that there was not going to be a mascot for the official photos, and walked back to the dressing room, and I can't tell you the feeling. It was, this is not happening. So bless them, Wembley brought their safeguarding officer down. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but she said, I'll try and get you a lion's head. We've got the Wembley option, but we think that's off site. So the England lion's head is not on site. But we're going to phone Millwall and Chelsea, see if we can get Stamford the lion's head. I've gone, whatever. I'm like this. Whatever, like, you know. So anything we can have, anything. I'd have taken anything. I said, would it be a good idea, like, if we can't, just we walk round waving? Which wouldn't have been a good look, would it?
Oh, brilliant. Another one I wanted to mention was you were given firm instructions, weren't you, to look after Fabio Capello when he rocked up as England manager?
The Capello one, yeah, that was a good one. This is when I was a steward, because when I joined the fan squad, I was a steward at Villa Park. So you know where you sit, Matt? Just below. Yeah. It's the higher sanctum, isn't it? It's like the hospitality, the chairman's club. Well, Paul Fortnum was the CEO then, and the guy that was looking after him, Jeff, he had to disappear. I don't know what he had to do, but he says, you cover this, my spot. He said, Paul will give you instructions. And Paul said, look, he said, when Fabio Capello comes in, he's here to see Fabian Delph. He said, make sure no one disturbs him. So yeah, that's no problem. Capello comes in. He's got a ticket. I thought, I don't know where the seat is. So he found his own way to the seat, and he got his assistant manager with him. And it was literally seconds before the game comes up. And he starts waving these fans over for autographs and selfies. And Paul's just looked at me and gone, like, and you know, I have a great relationship with Paul Faulkner. Right? He's just got, later on we did, he didn't really know me then. And I went, I'm so sorry. But Fabio, I didn't last much longer as a steward after that. But I've got another one for you, which I've never told you. I've got a new one for you.
Is this a Claret Blue exclusive? Have you told many people this?
No. A few people know it. The Turnstiles.
Oh, yeah, Andy Turnstile knows everything, doesn't he? But
this is a new one. Aston Villa Stevenage, January 20, what would it be, Dan? 20...
Is this when we lost? Unai's FA Cup loss?
23.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the beautiful thing of that, my job that was given on a match day was to do the half-time selfie. So you're taking a Villa fan onto the pitch at half-time. It was an incredible privilege to see that reaction. And we had a little lad, Archie Ingram, I'll never forget it. He lost his dad just before Christmas. We wanted to do something special, and his brother was with him. And had a kickabout on the pitch with Matty Cash. Poddymoor. Paddy, if you're listening, mate, you made those kids' dreams, not me. He arranged for Matty Cash to have a kickabout with Archie. And we gave him a medal. His mum filmed it. We gave Archie a medal, an Aston Villa medal on the pitch. And Paddy must have thought, do you know something? We can do something here. And we got together, and every game, didn't matter who it was, we had a kickabout on the pitch with Coutinho, John McGinn, Jack Grealish, when they were on subs for cup games. And we had one little lad, and we were in the Championship. Conor Horan, what a great personality, but what a great man he was. He had, his kid was about 10 years old, and on the halfway line, him and Conor were having, where the fast passing, just having that. And this kid Conor was struggling at sometimes to actually return the ball. It was bang, 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 bang. And this kid got standing. Honestly, people out there is a Twitter film of that. Someone took a film of it, and the whole of that stand stood up and applauded that kid, 10 years old. That is moments that you're never going to forget. And there was a lump in my throat watching him. I'm going, oh, this kid is living his dream with Conor Horan, So that leads us on to the Stevenage game. And do these things happen to me, Matt?
There seems to be a pattern emerging, Mick, I must admit.
Gone to the Highlands, and normally they're young kids, but I'd say these girls, 2 girls, lovely girls, probably were 18 actually. They were certainly not kids, but late teenagers. But who was on the bench that day? Most of the starting 11. So I said to this girl, we always ask her their favourite players. It's Tyrone Mings. I went, oh, nice. The other girl, Ollie Watkins. Imagine the scene, Matt. Forget the kickabout. All I wanted to do was hug Tyrone Mings and Ollie Watkins. So I've gone, oh, no. Watkins, this is an Ollie Watkins story if you're listening, so... I don't know. Do the players hopefully listen to it? I'm not sure whether they're allowed to. They're probably banned from listening if they ever wanted to. Listen, Ollie, this is my official apology to you, all right? I don't choose these fans, right? It was their moment, okay? They took it. They took it with bells on. So I thought, I've got to get these girls away. So I said, I'll tell you what you need to do. You need a picture in the dugouts. So yeah, they went with that. So we've gone to the dugouts, and Stevenage is still there, half time, but their staff are still there. And we were 1-0 up. But to be honest, they were playing well, weren't they? Were, yeah. And again, this is my true story. I'm telling the girls, I said, these are heated seats. I said, but they're not in the away. Now, bearing in mind, I'm sure they've got, is it Broadmeadow where they play, something like that. I guarantee they haven't got heated seats there. So I'm saying that. And I get a tap on my shoulder. It's the Stevenage substitute. And he says, mate, I've just been listening. He said, the sprinklers on. Is it all right if I sit in one of your heated seats? And I went, yeah. You carry on. So he's heated seats. He's sitting there like with... Anyway, the sprinklers start and he runs onto the pitch. I said, excuse me, mate. I said, what's your name? Jamie Reid. I said, oh, nice. So, end of, my job's finished then. Get the girls back to the hole, Watkins has got all lipstick on his cheek. You've not heard this one, have you?
I haven't. I don't think so, no.
I promise you, so I've gone back to the seats. I've gone into the hole, the corner. We was in Doug Ellis, essentially. So I've got Steve Turnstile, Tommy Turnstile, and Andy Turnstile with me. 88th minute. Oh, he'd come on by this stage. I went, oh, that bloke's coming on that was keen to sit in the seats. I said, here he comes. So he comes on, and 88th minute, penalty. Who takes it? Jamie Reid. And I've gone. But instead of going to the away fans, I bought 3,000, he's gone to North Stand, right? And he's doing this. Anyway, we all know the scenario. They scored, didn't they? Lost 2-1. I'm driving home, Radio 5 Live. Oh, what a story that is. Jamie Reid gets to score at his best mate's team's ground. Their best mates, they went to school together, him and Ollie Watkins, went to school together in Torquay, right? Dartmouth High or whatever. Dartmoor High, sorry. And he's pulled me out. He's done me, hasn't he? He's done me. So, Ollie, apologies. Jamie, fair play to your son, because if you look at his record, it's incredible. He scored in the following round at Stoke. He invariably scores. I always look for his name. Still plays for Stevenage. But do you know the best line of that? I warmed him up. They didn't need a fitness coach.
Just the fact that he's warm buttocks. He's sparred him to an FA Cup giant killing because of you being Mr. Nice Guy again. You're too bloody nice for your own good. That's your problem, isn't it?
That was mentioned, and... there was a conversation had about that game. I almost felt I'd lost us the FA Cup that day. But honestly, when he rolled it in, there was no pressure. And because Ollie's got a box, I didn't really explain that very well. But I think most people know when Ollie scores at the North Stand, he waves to his family. But Jamie Reid's family were in there as well. They're obviously best mates, and he's done me over. Fair play to him.
Are you able to tell the Big Ron story, or is it?
No, you're not making me do this.
Are you going to do that one or not?
I can.
I think you should, Mick. I think we've waited so long to get you on. I think our viewers and our listeners wouldn't appreciate if you didn't tell the Big Ron story. I
never really look after people on a match day. It's very rare because I've got my role doing stuff at half time. But this particular day, Ron was coming to sign his book, and I don't think he'd been back to Villa Park for about 15 years. So my job was just to chaperone him around the grounds, and that was easily. It was a day like today, a horrible wet day, but we got round. He signed loads of books. We went to the Holt Suite. We went into Villa Park. He got a tremendous reception, and all I got to do was drop him back at the executive box in Trinity. So I got back into the box. It's laid up for 10 people. And I've gone, where's your family, Ron? Because there doesn't seem to be anybody in there. He said, I'm on my own. I didn't know I could bring anyone. So I went, I can't let him watch the game on his own. You can't. So I've gone downstairs, and we got 6 or 7 new staff starting that day. And it was pouring around. I was feeling a bit guilty about watching them at half time or before the game, actually. I said, Gav and Adam, I said, any chance that this food's available and they can sit and watch the game, would you let them come up? I went, yeah, of course, that's a great call. So I thought, well, that's me done. I feel less guilty about sitting watching the game with him. But we got Mick, I'll never forget it, Mick Richards and Gabby were at the side of us. Ron was talking to them. And I was just like, I felt a bit awkward, to be honest, because the game was awful. Wigan were bottom of the league, and it was the game Jack scored a worldie in the last 8 minutes, but the game was terrible. So I ran out of things to say, and I thought, I know, football managers, they love chewing gum, don't they? So I had a spearmint. I offered Ron one, and he took it, and within seconds he's gone, whoa, like this. I said, what's the matter? He said, so we had to go to the toilets, and for some reason he was trying to put them back in. And I'm leaning over him. He's leaning over the sink, looking into the mirror, and I'm behind him. And I thought, this is not good look. This is not how I imagine the day ending. Right? So I said, look, Ron, that isn't going to work. And you know that blue roll that we all use to clean? I ended up with it was a plate, and his crown in this blue roll, holding it. He can't make it up. So we went back. God bless him. He was, a bit annoyed because he was on a talking tour of Britain with his book. So these girls came up and he was quiet. He wasn't saying a lot. But what I'd forgotten, Matt, honestly, the weather was like this. You have remembered you doing the shop after. I hadn't remembered that at all. Just an hour in the shop at the end so we can finish off. I've gone, we've got to do this at the end. I've walked in, because it was so wet, people had waited till the end so their books didn't get wet. There must have been like 100 plus people waiting for his autograph. The first person that came up, chatty Villa fan, because we'd won as well. Everyone was like, Jack's goal was good as well. Ron, oh mate, it's great to see you. I haven't read the book yet, but he said, but who's the best player you've ever signed? And at 4 o'clock. He says, you what? 4 o'clock. On the Wednesday, I got a call from Villa to say, would you meet him on Wednesday in the Villa? Do you remember the Villa shop they used to have?
Yeah.
I met him there in town for his last ever signing, and he'd had his teeth fixed by then. I thought he was going to give me the bill. Because it's bound to be private, wasn't it? And I went, it's nice to see you, Ron. And then it was a Christmas market. I did feel like you can't let him go to the train on his own. So where the ramp is, McDonald's, they were doing the tram at the time, but there was a lot of road work. So this guy's gone, the tram was coming, but he's waving son. And he went, mate, is that Ron Atkinson? Can I have a selfie? And I went, So he's taking himself. I could just see the tram coming around the corner. I'm getting out of it. When he got on that train, I was the most relieved person. Why didn't Balotelli have that? Why always me?
That's it. You need that. It was like, plays. We'll have it.
Please, yeah.
I'll
still read it on yours, mate. No.
Just give us a flavour of what you're up to now. A, what you're up to now, and B, how you follow and love the Villa. Obviously not as closely as when you're in those four walls of Villa Park. But first of all, what is it? How are you keeping yourselves in bottles of red wine now, Mick?
Always stocked up, Matt. Always stocked up. I'm enjoying my new job. I'm not, I'm a concierge at the Birmingham Health Metropole. So any Villa fans that turn up, it is me. I miss Villa. I said to you, Matt, I think about my job at Villa every day, and flashbacks on dreams that I'm still there. But, Saturday was I got to the ground for sure. Turnstile met me 2 hours before, and it's not normally what I do. And the amount of fans, the McLeod family, the amount of fans that came up to say hello to me, the lovely West Indian cleaner that I got on so well, that I used to smile at and speak to, came and said hello, and the backroom staff, the shop staff were lovely to me. So it was quite sort of heartening, and it was a special time for me. 14 years at that place. I kind of missed that side of it. Yeah.
But you're always very kind of understated and kind of downplaying of the impact that you've had. I know you've said but I think you have had that imprint on people. Listen, it's not just to build my social media engagement, but if I put a message out saying I've spoken to Mick Dale, or Mick's doing this, or you and Turney are at an away game, WhatsApp me a photo and I mention it, everybody's like, I love Mick, miss Mick, give him my best, Mick. And so I don't think you should underestimate the impact that you had there, really.
It's like, they're friends to me. I mean, not everyone. Obviously, you can't keep in touch with anyone, but Danny from the Bedford Lions, she's now a proud mum. Alex and her have had a little one. I'll keep in touch. I'm interested in how they're doing. And going to Dortmund the other week, I wish we'd have met up, Matt. It was such a lovely atmosphere. What they've got there, the families, and just I'm always like keeping my eye on Villa. I might not be at every game, but yeah, it's fantastic. And I think the club's pulled together this week with what happened. Gary going has pulled us all together. Villa, Hannah did what a fantastic job she did last week, dealing with all that and the tribute. And I hope it's pulled the fans. The club did really well with everything they did for Gary. And let's hope, Gary's passing something brings the fans closer to the club, yeah. Nicola Under, the manager of the hotel, said, why didn't you ever go into hospitality at the start? And I didn't even look at it, but I like seeing different people, people that fascinate me. I'm lucky enough to meet some incredible characters at the hotel. We had the Paralympians came back last week for their party in Birmingham, and I met some incredible characters, so that's kind of not made up for it, but it certainly helped that I got something like that, because don't forget I was working there while I was still at Villa, so it wasn't like I had to go and find it. I was looking after the Commonwealth Games at the start when I worked there, so they got the village there, so it did help massively though that I could go on to that role. But of course I'd love to be back at Villa doing the tours and going round. It was a lot changed by the look of it. I was there Saturday, all the new lounges and the fan zone. I think I'd have to have a tour myself before I did a tour. It's beyond like comprehension, isn't it? All these new lounges.
They've changed all the locks and everything.
They'd have to, wouldn't they? Yeah, It's we'll have to try and go on a tour, the three of us.
So just to wrap things up for us, and like Dan says, this might lend itself to a part two.
Don't.
But let's,
there's not much more left in the locker.
Let's make it. It might be cancelled after the Ron story, so we're not promising that. We're just saying it might be. So, if I had to sum up, if I had to ask you what your favourite memory was from Villa, and what was your favourite person that you've met? I know those probably are two difficult questions.
You've left that till the end.
But in the part two, we can ask it again. We can have a second favourite and
I can't. The favourite one's hard. As in personalities, tiles, Dublin, fantastic characters. I mean, I was lucky enough to take the owners around, wasn't I? That was a massive privilege. So to take them around Villa Park, Nassif and Wes and their family.
Bulldoze the North Stand.
Yeah. I mean, I still can't believe they got me to do that, because I was on my own with them and all that. So,
they love the big Ron story, though, don't they?
Oh, mate. Do you know, I even said, do you want to go on my table football? I just did a normal tour, but they went, you're right, yeah, okay. But, we took, what was his name? He was the head of Disney, Portsmouth's chairman. Oh, come on, you'll help me out.
Who that is?
Oh, it'll come to me. I took him round because they wanted to model Fratton Park on stuff that we got on Villa, the old Victorian sort of style. So I took him round. But, the fans, it would be an insult to them. I love taking them round.
Fans come from all over.
Oh, massive. Literally everywhere. Nice memories. Wembley 2019 was, for a lot of Villa fans, I've got to say, was amazing. And I was lucky enough. Do you know Russ Morris, the announcer?
I know Russ, yeah.
I filmed the Villa fans singing, High House and all the Neil Diamond stuff, basically. Yeah. And he's got that on his video, and the atmosphere the Villa fans created that day. And I was pitch side to film it. Yeah. That's got to be up there, but I'll think of loads when I get on the car going home. I'll think of lots more, but seeing the kids' faces on the pitch, because there's mums and dads out there, and I hope you do get some response from them. I want anyone whose kids played at Villa Park on that pitch during a Premiership game, to kind of recount those memories, because I'd love to know what they're up to now and whether, you know, what I remember it. I think they would, because it was a special time for me.
Well, I just love when you were getting those kids on the pitch. I love watching it at half time from my vantage point at the top of the Trinity, and you just thought, I'm so jealous of those kids. You know? I'm mid-40s and I wish Mick had taken me on the pitch for kick her out.
I'm not taking credit. It was Paddy. Paddy was so professional. Of course, the players would do their drills, but then there's a bit of time when they're kicking the ball about, and he gave those kids. It wasn't me. People just think I used to go and pick Coutinho out. I haven't got the right to do that. It was Paddy, the fitness coach. So, Paddy, if you're listening, mate, I owe you a great deal for that, and it shows you the club's connection with the fans there.
And one thing that I want to finish on, one of my favourite memories, and I think it was probably when he returned to Villa Park. There's a great picture of you and Dean Smith.
Dino,
I think,
Dino.
and I think I tweeted something, I don't know, game knows game or class knows class or something like that. And it just comes back to the thing that, not all heroes wear football boots. Some of them wear these blazers, don't they? As well, and lanyards.
When you're talking about heroes, you've just named one, Dean Smith. Dino. That was taken. Nev gave me that photo, sent me the photo. Nev, the club photographer. And Dino was going to get relegated that day with Norwich. He'd done a sterling job, but if we won, which we actually did win the game 1-0, I think it was, that picture was taken. Guess what? I'm coming off with some of the half-time people. He was just on his way to the dugout to manage them in the second half. The game kicked off literally seconds later, and he gave me that time of day. I loved Dino, and I think all the Villa fans loved him,
Well, and I think that's a nice place to finish, because I think that sums up for me.
Yeah.
We have lots of great people who pass through our club, and this might sound a bit too sentimental, Mick, so I don't want us both weeping.
Yeah.
But better to have loved than to have lost than never to have loved at all. And I think the fact that you've been an ambassador for our football club, and still are, despite not being employed by our football club, I think is a credit to you, and I think you should be very, very proud of what you've done and continue to do.
Thanks.
Right, on that emotional ending, me and Mick are going to go and bawl and weep and hug.
We've done a lot of that this week. We've done a lot of that.
But as you can tell, wonderful bloke, great guest. Thank you so much for joining us, Mick Dale. Until next time, you've been watching Claret Blue. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.